So, tell me something terrible.
Is that the child or the cat?
Well,
that's the cat. It sounds like
it's
he's
tough.
eating a rug.
The cat's 20 pounds, the child's 60. They sound very similar.
They do. No, it was the cat needing a rug.
Oh, our precious rugs?
Yeah. Our
Thanks.
Amazon rugs.
Those are big rugs. Hold on, we haven't ASMR'd a can in a long time.
Good old Sprite.
Hey, I have had what are these called? Voodoo Ranger Juicy IPAs, I believe they're called.
Ooh.
I have to finish this one, and then I'll move on to the Sprite.
I like a juicy IPA.
Do you?
No.
It has the gluten for sure.
Yeah.
What was that? 2 Christmases I bought you gluten-free beer to try?
Yeah.
And then
still bad.
You're still not a beer person.
No.
They weren't good in your defense. The bottles were cool. The cans were cool.
Yeah.
Had like a witch on it or something.
Of course.
Or somebody. I don't remember, like a fairy. Whatever it was. It didn't make up for it was just like a lack of bubbles. They were like flat tasting.
Yeah.
Immediately.
They were bad.
And I don't know if that was because they didn't have gluten in them or just the one I happened to get. Anyway, this room, I'm just making up excuses now in case this goes poorly. This room doesn't have air conditioning in it because we have a 150-year-old house, which has air conditioning in whatever rooms we put window shakers in.
Yep.
And this room doesn't, and it's 94 degrees outside. Heat advisory, in effect, it says actually on the computer that's recording this podcast.
Nice.
So this episode will be as long as we can handle before I pass out.
Which won't be very long because it's a whopping 2 pages.
Hey, we haven't put one of these out in like 2 months. But the people have been clamoring. Multiple people.
It's been multiple people?
Yeah. At Lily's, that's our daughter, what was the carnival thing we went to at the end of the year? I didn't go. You did.
Sure.
But there was another parent who came up and was like, hey, every time I see you, I hear you say, so tell me something. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. We should probably make more of those. So here we are.
Multiple people.
Yeah, it was the bakery lady.
Oh, yes.
Whose name is eluding me.
Well, I don't think. Say her full legal name and her social security number and her address.
We do know where they live. So
do you actually know where?
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'm just one of those hyper observant / weird people.
So you're a stalker?
No. So you brought Lil to the lab today, and we were backing out, and she goes, "Imagine if you like knew what everybody drove." And I'm like, I do know what everybody drives. She's like, but don't they get here at different times? I was like, it doesn't matter. I just know. I am observant to a fault almost sometimes. It's a problem.
Yeah, it really sucks you're diabetic because you'd come in real handy during the apocalypse.
Okay. I don't know what of those skills will be handy during the apocalypse, but sure.
Just you're a good shot. Observability is important.
I guess.
The ability to not feel emotions unless you're listening to music is important.
What does that have to do with it? Anyway, I've told you the plan. We don't go to pharmacies. They're going to be overran. I'm going to old folks' homes and I'm stealing all their insulin. They've had a good run. I need it more.
Okay.
That's the plan.
But it's only good for like 3 weeks unrefrigerated.
We'll have refrigeration.
It's the end of the world. No, we won't.
There's dry ice. We'll find it.
Okay.
It's Michigan. It's only hot for a couple months. Anyway, this is where you should say your name.
Oh, hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. Sorry, I was trying to
I
was trying to hand gesture you into that, and we're so out of rhythm. You were like, why is there fruit flies in here? What's wrong with him? Which there could be. It's summer.
And he has a fruity beer.
I do. They were after our cowboy caviar.
Which probably has another name that's not so whitewashed.
Cowboy caviar?
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody calls it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got mine off of a screenshot from a TikTok from 5 years ago, so it's got to be good.
Yeah.
People have asked me for that recipe, though.
Yes.
And I'm like, do you like cutting things up? Because that's all you're going to do for 45 minutes, and nobody's going to appreciate it.
I appreciate the hell out of it.
Well, yeah, because you cut it up today.
I did.
Except we skipped like 3 steps because we were just going bare bones. Anyway,
yeah,
nobody
I
cares.
can't cut up a mango.
If you want, the cowboy caviar recipe, let me know. We'll post it in our Patreon that nobody uses except for Murphy. Thanks, Murph.
Appreciate it.
Maybe somebody else. I haven't checked it in forever.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the next thing posted. There's the screenshot I have. Minus the black olives. If you put black olives in your cowboy caviar, you're a psychopath.
If you eat black olives, you're a psychopath.
If you like salty grapes, I don't judge you. But it's not for me.
No, you should.
You should judge black olive people?
Yes.
I mean, if you like the brine, I like artichoke hearts. That's as close as I get to brining. That's more like they're just floating in a liquid and they get that funk in them. Anyway,
that sounds so
we
gross.
should do a podcast about you should do one about black olives. Help yourself. Feel free. But currently, we should do one on something else terrible. This isn't about black olives?
No, it's not.
Terrific. I told her I will record one if it's not about the Holocaust. And she said,
he said
it's
no
not,
Nazis.
But it's not great.
No, I decided to go with a natural disaster.
That's fine.
Yep.
It's
easier when there's not like names involved.
Yeah, when it's Mother Nature's the bad person, that feels easier to handle.
Yeah.
I assume here it's not going to be like some man-made structure dissolving, right?
No.
Okay, good.
So,
according
to Encyclopedia Britannica,
I've heard that's a pretty legit source.
Yes.
Over the years.
Yeah.
When was the first one come out of Encyclopedia Britannica? When do you think? I don't know.
Probably sometime during the 1800s.
Where's John when we need him?
Oh my God.
I'm going to say 1849. I was going to say 46. Whoa, that's really weird. What do you think it is? First,
it's going to be something ridiculous like 1600s.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Boom, 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 boom. 1771.
Wow, it's older than the country.
Okay, sorry. 1768. I'm getting mixed reports. Anyway, starts with a 17, not 7. Jesus. Numbers are hard. But yeah, 1700s.
Yeah.
Or is that the 1800s? I never know which way.
It's the 18th century, 1700s.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. That's what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
I didn't check my Britannica, but that's what I would have guessed.
Okay. So according to Encyclopedia Britannica, because now they have websites.
Which has been around now for
over 250 years.
Right?
Older than America.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of things older than America.
Yeah, more.
Have you seen the memes where people are like, our country's only 3 people old?
No, but I've thought about that before.
Yeah, like 3 lifetimes old.
Yeah.
It's
like full lifetimes, not generations.
Yeah, like this person was alive from this year to this year, and this person, there's only like a year
if you
overlap.
Had like, you could do like 22 people and get back before, to BC.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Is it?
Is it really 22 people? There's no way.
If you had 22 centenarians,
yeah,
we're in the year 2025. So
that's true.
Just backtrack.
Ugh.
Ew.
Time's not real.
Time's very real.
Anyway.
It might be just kidding. Proceed.
It might be the only thing that's real.
We're pushing 10 minutes in and I don't even know what the topic is besides that it's something about when the wind blows and I opened a Sprite.
After an earthquake or other generating impulse occurs, a train of simple progressive oscillatory waves is propagated great distances over the ocean surface in ever-widening circles, much like the waves produced by a pebble falling into a shallow pool.
I love when you talk nerdy to me.
Yes. In case you didn't notice, I had to beef this up just a little bit, but I wanted people to understand how tsunamis worked.
Oh, it's a tsunami? Okay.
Yeah.
So first we have to cross the bridge of oscillation?
Yep.
Okay.
And so the wavelengths are enormous, sometimes exceeding 500 kilometers, which is 310 miles. So one wave can be 300 miles wide. Like,
oh, after an earthquake?
Yeah.
Okay.
During a tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really wide wave at first.
That is to say that's a really wide wave is 310 miles?
Yes.
That is massive.
Yeah.
How tall is the U.S.?
How tall is the U.S.?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's like...
No, it's...
like twice that.
Yes.
And you'd have all the... I'm not going to Google another thing live on our highly professional podcast. Maybe I will. But
it's thousands of miles, the U.S.
Tall?
I think so.
I'm going to say 720. Let's play another game of over under. I'm going to put the over under 720, going over or under.
Over.
How tall is
FYI, US? This is not part of the Britannica quote.
I also don't know if the word tall is correct.
I think just height.
Also, I don't. Oh God.
No, tall's going to do like from the ocean up to the tip of the tallest
So
mountain.
it's 2,800 miles wide.
Okay.
That's all geography would give me.
But that's from coast to coast and not north to south.
Correct.
Maybe if you Google size north to south.
Geography of the U.S. God, we've stumbled. The longest river is the Missouri River.
Really?
Do you know how long the Missouri River is?
1,000 miles.
2,341 miles.
Okay, well that runs vertical, doesn't it?
Well, it's not exactly a straight line.
Oh.
As far as I know. There's so many numbers on this. I can't. I'm punting. It's 2,800 miles wide. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and it's probably about that.
So it's about 9 tsunamis wide.
Yes.
Okay. Potentially.
Yes, America is 9 tsunamis wide.
Potentially.
So the wavelengths are enormous, sometimes exceeding 310 miles, but the wave amplitudes, which are the heights, are very small.
It's 1,650 miles north to south.
After all that, you still found it.
I thought of a better way to Google it, yes.
Learning to Google is honestly a skill that a lot of people lack.
I left it too open-ended, and it went in the wrong direction.
Okay, literally.
Yes, and it went latitude, and I needed longitude. Maybe. I didn't trust that as soon as I said it. Anyway,
yeah.
All I remember is fatitude.
That's all I remember either.
And I'm like, you can be fat in both directions. Anyway.
So anyway, the amplitudes are very small, only 30 to 60 centimeters, which is 1 to 2 feet. So it's this huge undulating wave that is spread out over 1/9 of America.
Width.
Yes.
Or 1/5 of America height.
So the wave periods are very long, varying from 5 minutes to more than an hour. These long periods coupled...
like contractions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So the wave can take 5 minutes all the way to an hour before it gets to the next wave.
Okay.
These long periods, coupled with the extremely low steepness and height of the waves, enables them to be completely obscured in deep water by normal winds, wind waves, and swell. A ship on the high seas experienced the passage of a tsunami as an insignificant rise and fall of only a half a meter, lasting more than 5 minutes to an hour or more. So they're hard to detect.
Okay, this is just
basic information about tsunamis right
Okay,
now.
you're going to talk about a specific tsunami at some point. Okay, that's fine. And then you're going to ask me if I've heard of it, and the answer is going to be no.
Yes, you have.
You overestimate
how much you paid attention to the news.
Literally anything. Yes.
So
I can tell you our last 6 presidents. Don't make me go past the original George. I don't know who came before him. Don't judge me. Please don't judge me.
It's okay. It was either Nixon or Reagan. I can't.
I was a baby.
Or somebody else. I don't.
It could have been Jimmy fucking Carter. I have no idea. He was back there because he just died recently. Is alive.
Yeah.
Died recently.
And he's the peanut farmer. We Googled it after we had this argument a few episodes ago.
Either way. Just do not. If you had a whole episode of let's test your historical knowledge, that would be our last episode. Because I would be so embarrassed. I'd be like, we could never. I swear I'm smart. I just hate news, and I don't hate history. That's the worst part. I like history. U.S. history is not my jam. I just don't have a passion for our first whatever umpteen years. Anyway,
how about Roman history?
No, I'm not one of those guys.
Thank God. I never jumped on that trend to ask you.
No, the only thing I give a shit. I like architecture. I find architecture fun. And music and art and stuff through the years is fun.
So that's why you're excited to go to when we're in the furniture and architecture part of the museums. You're like, this is cool. And I'm like, this is kind of boring. Can we go look at the art?
Yeah, no. I didn't was that in St. Louis when there's just the whole bottom floor was 9,000 chairs and you're like, I could buy half of these at IKEA today and I wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't. I like buildings, old buildings. Anyway.
That's probably why the U.S. doesn't interest you. We don't really have a lot of old buildings.
No, but I also, if we go into like an old building, like it's always like theaters or museums or even like, I like zoos that are older feeling.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like Toledo Zoo has that one random zoo on our way to Chicago. Same feeling. The Chicago or whatever that Washington Park Zoo.
Sure.
Had that like old feel to anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Proceed about tsunamis, would you?
Anyway, tsunamis.
They start with a T.
They do.
It's proving how smart I am.
As the waves approach the coast of a continent, however, friction from the rising sea bottom reduces the velocity of the waves.
You don't want that bottom friction.
No. Nope.
Someone's going to chafe.
It's got some chub rub going on.
You're right.
As the velocity lessens, the wavelengths become shortened and the wave amplitude heights increase.
I feel like there's an equation there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Coastal waters may rise as high as 30 meters, which is about 100 feet, above normal sea level in 10 to 15 minutes.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
The continental shelf waters begin to oscillate after the rise in the sea level. Between 3 and 5 major oscillations generate most of the damage, frequently appearing as powerful run-ups of rushing water that uproots trees, pull buildings off their foundations, carry boats far inshore, and wash away entire beaches, peninsulas, and other low-lying coastal formations. Frequently, the succeeding outflow of water is just as destructive as the run-up, or even more so. In any case, oscillations may continue for several days until the ocean surface reaches equilibrium.
It's a long time of oscillation.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the entire time is not these 100-foot craziness, right?
No.
That's just...
You usually get a couple big waves that are like that, and then the rest of it's just little small waves before everything finally settles down. And then there's like micro tsunamis that are only like 2 to 6 feet tall, and those ones happen like all the time. And then they also have like proof that on Mars at some point, when they know that there was water on Mars, there's proofs of tidal waves on Mars too. So it's not just an Earth exclusive thing, which I think is pretty interesting.
It would make sense that probably every planet that's not a gas giant would have tectonic plates to some extent.
Yeah.
Or like non-solid crusts.
Yeah.
Like with fissures in them.
Yeah.
That would make, to me, not knowing shit about shit and can't tell you who's the president before George Bush, that would make sense to me. So take that for whatever it's worth.
So I lost my spot because I don't have my anxiety pen. How about an anxiety highlighter?
That's fine. I'm not going to edit that out because I don't edit out if I don't have to. And we'll just let everyone savor that dramatic pause of you. If you wouldn't, I would have filled the void, but you were on the cusp of saying something for all 4 seconds of silence.
And I was panicking the entire time going, oh my God, I lost my spot. Yes, I'm fine now though.
We're on like paragraph 3.
We are.
That's good.
Yep. So along the Pacific Ocean, where underwater earthquakes are common, a vast network of technology has been placed allowing to track for changes in water height and seismic activity, creating a warning system that can sometimes give people up to a few hours to evacuate a coastline.
Okay.
On this fateful day, in this part of the world, there was no such technology.
Okay, so we're thinking not the U.S.
Bum, bum, bum. No, not the U.S.
Okay.
On December 26th, 2004, at 7:58 a.m., an earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 created a rupture 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers long in the Indian Ocean, off the coast of one of Indonesia's 1,400 islands called Sumatra. It was the equivalent of 23,000 nuclear bombs.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
9.1, like...
is almost as high as it goes on the Richter scale.
I was going to say, what is it 10?
10.
Okay.
And we've never had a 10. There's been very few that are 9s.
Yeah.
But when they are, they fuck shit up.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you hear like, what, 6s here is a big deal?
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Is that right? Like 6 point whatever.
We did the one earthquake in LA, and that was a 6 or a 7. The one that took out that bridge and stuff.
Yeah, not a 9.
Yeah, not a 9.
That seems crazy time.
Yeah. So it was in the bottom of the ocean. It created that rupture, 1,500 kilometers long, and it lasted 8 minutes. and it triggered the deadliest tsunami in history. So what essentially happens is the ground pushes up, pushing up the water, and then when it hits the peak, gravity separates the water and the giant wave moves forward.
Does it go in both directions or just
Yes, both directions. Okay. Yep.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Again, with my expert opinion on all things geology and history. This is called Ask the Experts, right? I think that's what we called this podcast.
Yes. This one, 167 feet deep, moves toward all sides of the Indian Ocean rim. As it reaches the shore, the water has nowhere to go but up. So in some areas, the ensuing wave was reported to be 30 feet high by the time it hit the shoreline 750 miles away.
Is the Indian Ocean pretty circular?
Yes.
Okay. Like the Gulf of Mexico?
Yes, like the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay. I'm like, I know vaguely where the Indian Ocean is, and from what I can remember, it is not landlocked, but like circled.
Yes, it's like India and Africa, and that
a vague,
Indonesia,
or something.
All that region.
You know how good I am in geography. Yes. It's somewhat east of here.
So for perspective, 6 inches of fast-moving water can carry away an adult. 12 inches of water can carry away a small car. 18 to 24...
12 inches of water can carry away a small car?
Yeah, like rushing water.
Okay.
Can carry away a small car. 18 to 24 inches of water can carry away most large SUVs, vans, and trucks.
Also, the Indian Ocean's huge.
Yes. All the oceans are huge.
Its eastern border is Australia.
Okay.
So it goes from like Africa up to India, over to Australia.
Okay. I didn't know where its border is.
And then Antarctica's below it, but who the fuck knows where this... I've never heard of the Southern Ocean. Have you?
No.
Okay. Below this South Atlantic and below the Indian Ocean, there's a Southern Ocean.
Huh.
Yep. And it goes all the way along the Antarctica.
Is that new?
I don't...
Look, we're just changing names of bodies of waters willy-nilly in this world, so why not?
I've just never heard of the Southern Ocean, and it's all around Antarctica.
Sure.
Anyway.
Proceed.
You learned some fun facts around here?
Yep.
According to Google Maps.
So the first island the wave hit was Ko Poi Poi or Ko Fi Fi. It's not Kon Fi Fi. But I think it was, it was Ko Pi Pi for sure.
Was it?
Yep.
You sound strangely confident.
I watched a documentary 2 months ago about it. I'm very confident in the pronunciation of this island. I'm not.
Ko Pi Pi?
Yeah. Or Ko Fi Fi or Ko Pai Pai or...
You're making it worse.
It was a tiny island.
Yep.
It killed over 1,300 people.
And you've just degraded their names.
I did.
Do you want me to pull up the list of everyone who died and you can just butcher your way through all 1,300 of them?
No.
Okay, good.
So the only way to access this island is by boat or air. Survivors were stuck...
Well, no shit. It's an island.
No, but I mean like...
I don't know the definition of every island, but
some
most of them...
some islands there's bridges between. Like small islands.
Not in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean, there's not.
No.
The only way to get to them is by boat or plane.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That tracks.
Yeah. In your expert opinion?
According to your geography expert you asked here tonight, yes. Who just found out there's a whole nother ocean he's never heard of on this relatively small planet we live on. All things when it comes to oceans, like I feel like I should know.
Yeah, there's like 4.
I don't know how many. I'm not going to say how many there are because there could be.
How many Great Lakes are there?
5.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. If you ask me all of them, I will know all of them. But
what are they?
Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior.
Holmes.
Yeah, I did that in order.
Yep.
Because I don't want to miss one. Not because I needed. Ontario is always the hardest one for me because it feels very Canadian, as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
There was the unfortunate killing of 1,300 people on this very first island. Survivors were stuck with no medical help they knew of. One man, a psychiatrist, started helping as much as he could, tearing up clothes to staunch wounds, makeshift splints, separating out who needs the most urgent medical help. One British woman tourist a survivor said that if you were caught in a building, everything in that room becomes a weapon trying to kill you.
Oh, yeah, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
You don't realize, like, yeah, furniture is just going to move.
And it's crushed furniture. Like splintered furniture, splintered trees that have broken through your windows.
Yeah.
Like
everything.
Mm-hmm. Fence posts, mailboxes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Cars.
I was just thinking of the pointy objects that would really gouge you.
Yeah, cars are pretty pointy, I would think, once they start moving.
Yeah, but I feel like they just smush you versus a gouge.
Smush you?
Yeah. Like you would die if a car crushed you.
Yeah.
You'd be done. You wouldn't have to live through all the wounds and trauma of tsunami. If you just got gouged by like a fence post, you'd probably have to live through that shit. And that sounds terrible.
Okay. Your logic is flawless.
Experts.
Yes. That caveat at the end we put in.
So all the other survivors said it was like being caught in a washing machine. At this time, the Tsunami Detection Center in Hawaii had gotten an alert that there was an earthquake at what they originally measured was an 8.0 that hit off the coast of Indonesia. But they had no other information available because they had no sensors to measure water.
Okay.
So they're going in blind. They just know that there was seismic activity.
In the middle of the ocean.
In the middle of an ocean that normally doesn't get seismic activity.
Oh, it's not common there?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Indian Ocean. I don't know how common your seismic activity is. I would have assumed it was fairly common. If there was a 9.1 there, you'd think like 6s and 7s probably happen on the regular, and this is like an outlier. You wouldn't.
At least it was nothing bad enough that if they did, it's nothing bad enough that
if there's people
caused a tsunami.
Yeah, there wouldn't be people living on those little islands.
No, if tsunamis were regular.
Yeah, or like any sort of seismic activity was regular.
Yeah.
Anyway, do I need to fill the void? Have you lost your spot? Are you locked back in?
I found it.
You found it? Okay,
yes.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So they were completely
It's like
blind.
when you're riding a bike and your foot slips off the pedal. Like you just gotta kind of wait for it to come back around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were completely blind and had no way to contact anyone of importance along the Indian Ocean rim to even warn anyone that a tsunami may be on its way.
Yeah, and every rim needs a warning.
Every rim does need a warning.
Indian Ocean wise.
So the wave moves to another island only 150 miles away called Banda Aceh, and I was smart and put in how to pronounce the name.
Phonetics?
For this one. Yes.
Okay.
They felt the earthquake.
It's like one night when you're like, I'm going to have an acai bowl. And I'm like, okay, fancy pants.
They felt the earthquake first. People couldn't stand. Buildings toppled. One survivor was a journalist, so he went to investigate and record. And the beaches had withdrawn hundreds of meters. The waves sounded like bombs going off as it approached.
Withdrawn like into the ocean?
Yes.
That would be crazy.
So that's the thing that people tell you to look out for.
Is if you see them recede 100 foot?
Yeah,
100
recede.
Yards? Meters.
Meters, yes, which is like 300 feet. If you ever see the ocean recede that far, the water got pulled.
And it's going to come back with a vengeance.
And it's going to come back. Yeah.
It's going to turn violent.
So you need to get out of that area immediately. And that's pretty much your only warning that you have.
And if you're on an island, good luck.
Yeah. By 8:30 a.m. at Sri Lanka, the beaches had expanded hundreds of feet into the ocean. You could see the coral reef. No one knew what was happening at the time. There were no tsunami warnings in the Indian Ocean like there was in the Pacific. So people were recording the ocean. They were like,
yeah, like, whoa, check it out. We can see the coral reef.
Yes. And they're walking out into this like newly unearthed beach, watching the water.
This was 2004.
2004.
So there's like social media is kind of on the come up here.
Yeah.
Like this is early Facebook days.
Yes. And you're also still talking about Indonesia.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously tourists and stuff. And nowadays,
people have
iPhones
cameras,
yes,
but they don't have probably camera phones, everybody. Like, it's not nearly to the level they do now.
Yeah.
Or if it is, it's like shitty flip
and
phone
you're
cameras.
you're not posting it
No.
live. So no one has any clue what's happening.
People have the footage. That's probably come to light since then.
Yes.
Like camcorders.
There's a 4-hour documentary you can watch.
4-hour documentary.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I watched it.
It's like a baseball game
It
from
was-
5 years ago
It
before they
was
sped
really
everything up.
interesting and really sad.
Yeah.
They like talked to survivors.
That's kind of what documentaries thrive on.
Yeah.
Is like sad, interesting.
They talked to survivors.
Well, yeah, because the opposite of that are hard to talk to.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, like people that live, the people that lived through it. They talked to that psychiatrist and they talked to that tourist.
Yeah.
And there was like a couple of little boys who lost their parents.
Sorry, I just can imagine trying to interview deceased people after. It's just a terrible visual.
Yeah.
It's just a horrible thought.
Just bruised up and bloated. And
Terrible.
But they recorded, or they interviewed all different sorts of people. The people at the Tsunami Center and all different sorts of stuff.
In Sri Lanka or?
No, the one in Hawaii. That's where the base is for Tsunami.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Tsunami Detention Center, yeah.
Okay.
Or Detection
Detention
Center.
It's where they put all the bad tsunamis.
So the waves sounded like
We're
bombs.
definitely, hold on, I got to write that down. We're naming this one Tsunami Detention Center. Detention Center. Luckily, I know what a DC is. I work with the prison system.
Ooh, look at you. Aren't you fancy? You're so
Not
smart.
really. J stands for jail. DC stands for detention center. That's all you need to know.
So, anyway, I lost my spot again.
You were at detention center. Maybe Hawaii Detection Center?
No.
I'd find that spot. Does our dog snoring in the corner help you focus?
Yes.
Okay. You got to find it. Otherwise, I don't have to edit this part of the podcast. Don't make me do it. Dun, 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 dun. Nope. We're leaving it all in, folks. This is what I deal with on a daily basis. Just kidding. Just when we record.
So people
a
were
podcast.
watching the water.
Were they?
Yes.
From the detention center.
From the detention center.
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
Were they actually watching from Hawaii?
No. The only information that they had from Hawaii was that there was seismic activity.
How'd they know? How'd they get the 9.1 number? Was that after the fact?
As the readings came in more accurate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They wound up placing the category at like a 9 point something before the end of the tsunami.
Okay.
So people were walking out in the ocean, watching the beach, watching the water, and then people heard a loud roaring, big booms, and then a wall of water started rushing in.
What was the big booms, you think?
I don't. It's
Just water
it's the
crushing?
sound of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water can make some pretty gnarly noises.
Yeah. So there's a ton of footage of this wave, like you said.
Like I said.
Like people were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
It's
razors.
yes. Well, they're like giant.
Yeah, like over the shoulder
ones.
Yeah.
Yes, we had one of those growing up. Did you?
Did I?
Yeah. I didn't know.
We barely had a TV.
Okay.
We got a VCR when I was like 17.
So I came from the upper poor. You came from the lower poor.
Okay, let's rephrase it. You came from the materialistic poor. I came from the like reasonable, and we're given 10% poor to the church. So any extra we had went to the church.
Oh.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
I mean, they're alive, I guess. But no, you're talking like the American Funniest Home Videos, like Date in the Corner, over the shoulder. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Those kind of cameras.
Yeah.
That kind of footage.
Yep.
And some of it still somehow survived.
Yeah, that's crazy because all the water.
Yeah.
I'm imagining. But there's VHSs now that have been around for 40 years. You can still plop in, and they work for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, you can watch the footage of this wave. It is insane. It's literally just
like a skyscraper moving towards you.
Wall of water, and it looks like it's taking up the top 2/3 of this footage.
Horizon.
Yeah, of the horizon, and it's literally hundreds of meters out into the ocean and rushing towards you, and it's dark and it's frothy and it's wild.
Yeah. It's like probably like the worst storm cloud you can imagine, but it's rolling in low and fast.
Yes, and it was the entire length of this shore. Like you couldn't
Panoramic
see the end of it.
Yeah, that would make
Which is
How fast was it moving? Did it say?
I'll get to it.
Okay. I just want to know, like, is it coming in like 10 miles an hour or
No.
like 80 miles an hour?
Oh.
Faster?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. Anyway.
Yes.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I can't really move. If I move, it'll make the mics angry.
Yeah. Tsunamis are legit horrifying. So people started sprinting.
Well, no shit.
Yeah.
I'm not like, psh, We get waves here, like a 4-foot wave in fucking Lake Michigan. Woo, got my belly button. That was chilly. Like, not the same thing.
No. So people started sprinting, heading up to higher ground, upper stories of their hotels, roofs of their houses, and the water came in taller than the first story of the buildings around.
Uh-huh.
So all of it got filled with debris from other houses and trees, moving cars, and unfortunately, bodies.
Yep.
It hit Sri Lanka so hard because it was parallel with the rupture of the earthquake. So it was just a straight-on hit.
Yeah. So it became a perpendicular hit.
Yes.
Essentially.
But waves from the tsunami will refract around islands, so no side of an island is safe.
Oh, okay. That
So
makes sense. Yeah.
it might, like, if it's hitting the east side and you're on the west side, there's probably less water, but it will still break around the entire island.
Well, that, and you have the entire other side of the island rushing over to your side.
Yeah.
All willy-nilly truck driver, as you will.
And you think it's over, but the second or third wave is usually bigger than the first because tsunamis are not just one wave, they are multiple.
Yeah.
A packed train left a station with a mother and daughter and people standing shoulder to shoulder, like an adult daughter and a mom.
Mm-hmm.
The first wave came tipping over a train car and the water, and the water rising to chest level. So they're inshore quite a bit because it's a train.
Yeah, they don't put a lot of trains next to the ocean.
No. And it came in, knocked the one train car off of its, and then all the water rose to chest level before it receded.
Crazy.
Yeah. And a woman on board. Oh, and then the water receded and the second wave came, this one tipping the train over on its side completely. So the whole train.
Yeah.
A woman on board remembers the water coming in, the car tipping over, and then seeing a window above her head. This is the daughter.
Okay.
She remembers then seeing the window above her head, and she managed to break it open and crawl out. And so from there, she proceeded to help pull people from the train.
So this was not a small child.
No, this is an adult woman.
Okay,
and people were helping each other out.
You just said a daughter, and I was like, I think of like our kid, and I'm like, she couldn't drag a single person out of any window.
No, this is a full,
unless it was a
people
baby.
were helping each other out of the train to stand on the side of it because the water had rushed all the way up over the top of the train.
That would make sense.
And that was the second wave. So the second wave was bigger than the first one.
Okay.
So she proceeded to help people crawl out the window with water rushing everywhere. After the water receded again, she crawled into the train trying to find her mother, but it was too late. She'd already drowned.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, it's even worse than that. This is another person that they interviewed, and she said that she was giving her CPR and water kept coming out, so she thought that there might be some hope, and then eventually blood came out instead.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. No, it's a terribly sad documentary.
We're never watching it.
I already watched it for us. That's why I do this for you.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And now you get to tell me all about it.
Yeah. So there were 1,500 people on the train and over 1,000 people perished. It's still considered the worst train accident in history.
You know, we should have really called this podcast Ruin My Buzz. Similar effect. Hey, for the next hour, I'm going to catch a good buzz, and then you tell me the most terrible shit you can find on the internet. And then by the end of it, we'll both just be stone cold sober. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's good for our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about the highs and the lows of this life.
So next, the wave hits Indonesia. It's
Wait.
PHUKUCKET.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you were just throwing them under the bus.
Nope. Fuck it, Indonesia.
Okay.
So it was their most touristy area.
Well, no shit. People are like Googling fuck it, and they're like, oh, wait, this is a place we got to go.
Yeah. At 10:30 a.m. So it took another 2 hours to get from Sri Lanka to
fuck it?
To fuck it in Indonesia.
Okay.
So survivors described that's how big of an area this is affecting. The wave, you know?
Yeah, I've been to both of those places. They're not very close.
It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So,
do you want me to Google Maps how far? Just kidding.
No.
We're done
Survivors,
Google searching tonight.
Survivors describe it as a beautiful, calm day, and then the water rushed in and whirling and black and filled with debris. Because at this point, it's picked up stuff from other islands.
Yeah.
Some managed to float along the top of debris piles. Others tried reaching out to save people only to have them washed away. Once the waves receded, survivors started looking for loved ones, dazed, bruised, and broken. And then 55 miles north, the wave hits Khao Lak, which is, it was hit worse with 3,000 people dying.
Okay.
Just on one tiny island, 3,000 people dead.
That's probably
Most of their
the people.
island,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
going to say, I don't know percentage-wise, but that's probably a large percentage.
This was all breaking news in the United States first thing in the morning, with reports filing in, reporters that were on the ground in India and Thailand. So that's why I thought maybe you'd heard of it, because it was literally like that's what you woke up to the day after Christmas was this.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
My parents didn't watch the news either growing up, so it's not just my fault.
Oh, yeah. My parents watched the news.
Like, they've watched the local news some nights, but not like news. We also didn't have cable.
We were well-rounded. We watched the news and shows like Futurama and Simpsons.
Yeah, well, they're all on the same channel, thankfully.
Yes. So, the Tsunami Center in Hawaii finally got a hold of contacts in other countries like Kenya.
Oh, the detention center? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they managed to get their beaches evacuated.
Okay.
So it took them that long. It took them from when it hit at like 7-something in the morning until 10:30, 12, like 10:30, 11 o'clock before they even found out that there was a tsunami happening.
Gotcha. But it still wasn't there yet, right?
To
Kenya?
No.
Okay.
Because Kenya was farther away.
Yeah. It is crazy that it like goes in every direction.
Yes. Yeah, and it was affecting like North Africa.
Yeah.
And it was farther away. So once they had a confirmed tsunami sighting, because everything was down, there was no contacting anybody. Like there was no cell phone, there was no landlines.
Well, yeah.
Everything got destroyed.
Yeah.
And so until they started hearing from contacts in the area that had survived the tsunami and seen it, they had no confirmation that it had even happened.
That's crazy. They were just in the dark about it as I was.
Yep.
Am.
So no one had heard anything from Indonesia. There was no contact information at the center in Hawaii and no sensors in the area to have any idea what happened. Any way for communicating in Indonesia had been wiped out after the dust settled, and over 167,000 people in Indonesia were killed.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
With the waves washing 3 miles inland.
Okay.
So that's how far.
I will actually say that's less far than I expected.
Okay.
Not as far as I expected.
Yeah.
Also English, not a major of mine. Either way, I thought you were going to say farther in than 3 miles.
See, to me, I was like, damn, 3 miles is so far, because there are some islands that's the size of them.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously the islands took the brunt of it. Like they're going to have the highest percentage of casualties. But I didn't know how far in the actual tsunami would go. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's picking up more water and more steam as it goes.
Mm-mm. The Maldives, over 100 people reported dead. Thousands of non-Asian tourists and visitors were reporting missing or dead. And the last survivor was a little boy found wandering Bagda Aceh by himself by a film crew 21 days after the wave hit.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, he'd been living off of dried noodles he'd managed to scavenge.
How little was this kid?
Like Lily's age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 10, 11 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Bodies were being identified for months after.
But when everything gets that displaced, like, you don't even know where people are. Like, it's, got to be a nightmare.
Well, and there's also a lot of tourists, right? Like, there was a couple of little boys who got caught in the waves, and they were separate from their parents and trying to sprint to them.
Yeah.
When the wave hit, and the oldest one grabbed a hold of his younger brother and held onto him as long as he could, but they wound up separated in the water, and the youngest brother was found by another tourist group that they had met the day before.
Okay.
And so the older brother had recognized these people, and they were like, "Oh my God, like They like, have you seen my brother? And they're like, oh my God, here he is.
Yeah.
But his parents were dead. And how are you going to ID bodies
Yeah.
on people from across the world?
Yeah, when you have no idea. Yeah, they're all strangers.
Yeah, where they came from. They're literally German.
Yeah.
Like
all over the world.
Yes.
Yep. It's not ideal.
So the tsunami affected 17 different countries and killed over 230,000 people. It displaced over 1.7 million people and caused $13 billion in economic loss. Tsunamis are more than just an immediate threat to life. When the waves roll in, it's also dangerous as it adds back out into the ocean, carrying debris and people with it. They also cause economic damage to infrastructure, and lack of medical treatment to access emergency supplies kills people as well. Mm-hmm. So not having just getting an infection.
There's for lack of a better term, a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entire roads were wiped out, houses flattened as far as the eye could see from helicopters, and there are obviously after effects with infrastructure to rebuild and environmental damages too, because the debris and bodies and the salt water kills the soil.
Do they give tsunamis names the way they do like hurricanes?
Mm-mm.
No, this is just the tsunami of December 26, 2004 or whatever. It doesn't have an actual name.
No.
Oh, I feel like we should name them.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't, although we are good at marketing, but
we should name them.
They should have like something a little easier than just like the worst tsunami in the Indian Ocean in modern history.
I don't know. I mean, they don't happen that often.
Well, no.
Right?
Yeah.
Like with as connected as the world is right now, we'd know there was a tsunami that happened, you know?
Yeah. And most people probably knew this happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like I remember a tsunami happening, but also tsunamis happened more recently, right?
Yes. That one is the one that happened most recently. And I was going to do two of them.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the mental capacity and the wherewithal to do two of them. That one, the most recent one, is the one that happened in Japan. I think that one has a name because the earthquake has a name.
Okay.
And it was another 9 point something, and that one caused a tsunami as well, and that one hit Hawaii.
I was going to say, I knew that one was more based in like Asia than it was.
And that one hit a nuclear power plant, and it got turned into like a no-fly zone, and people were evacuated because of that.
That one I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
That was semi-recently.
Yeah, that one was like 2011, I think is what it said.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. This tsunami lasted 12 hours.
Yeah.
So it was just 12 hours of wave after wave, just devastating.
Yeah. Wave on wave.
Yep.
Do you have sources it looks there?
I do. Britannica.com/science/tsunami.
#:
And then 2004 Terror in Thailand Nat Geo documentary called Tsunami: A Race Against Time.
Oh. That is a dramatic Nat Geo type name.
Of course.
And if you've made it this far.
Congratulations.
To all of us.
Yep.
Look, I wrote notes. I wrote TDC.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Those are my notes for that. I'm also leaving all your blank moments of silence for the tsunami victims you sporadically put throughout this podcast.
Okay. Seconds of silence.
Yes.
Seconds of sheer panic silence.
For the lives lost in fuck it, we will have moments of silence spread throughout this podcast. Sound good?
Sounds good.
And all the islands. What was the one you said? Not PP.
Kopipi?
Kopipi, yeah. Yeah.
Kofifi.
But it was, 250,000 lives. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
And from an earthquake in the middle of an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
a heavily populated area, you know?
Well, yeah.
And it was Christmas. So when people were going to travel for Christmas, they traveled.
And it's still a place where like the infrastructure is not going to hold up to that kind of like, weather. No matter, nowhere's going to hold up to it well, but most of those people were the population's probably heavily coastline dependent because that's where the work is. That's where the work is. It's where the food is, where the economy is. Yeah. And so it's worst case scenario for all those.
And relative safety, because your other choice is to live in the jungle.
Yeah. Or desert, depending on which part of the Indian Ocean you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not going to live like, a nomad. But anyway, that was terrible. So
you're welcome.
Nailed that part of the podcast requirements.
Thanks. And I think we nailed the expert part of the requirement as well.
mean, you leaned into my geography expertise. So now I'm going to be researching. You should next tell me about like the worst thing to happen in the Southern Ocean.
In the Southern Ocean?
Yeah, now that we know it exists.
Okay. I can tell you.
It's something to do with Antarctica.
The hole in the ozone.
Anyway. But yeah, I don't know when we put one of these out last. A couple months ago?
Yeah.
So this one's going to come out. I'll probably put it up for tomorrow. So end of June. Should we make a promise that one will come out in July?
No. By
the end of summer, one will come out again.
Yes.
I'm going to badger her. Like everyone knows. Badger, badger, badger. Well, people of a certain age know. Badger, badger.
Badger, badger, mushroom, mushroom.
Snake. Anyway, if you know that, you're probably in your 30s and probably
should start using some sunscreen.
Yes. How's your skincare routine? How are your knees? Anyway, thanks for listening. And we'll, try to do this semi-regularly.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTpod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.